morning, everybody. Wherever you are, however you may be listening, this is your Wednesday wrap-up. We got Herb in the house, people in the comments already. And how you doing today, man?
Man, it's a beautiful morning. I am ready to tackle the world of sports, as only we can.
That's right.
What's up, Mom? What's up, man?
What is happening here? He's on time? I feel
and
like we're done.
Difference
That's
day.
it.
Yeah, cool. Guys, appreciate everybody this morning.
Right.
See y'all next week.
It's a good day. Speaking of lots of things changing, this show will shift out of this time slot. We have our daily show moving in. And of course, that will be live every single day on 97.3 ICU radio. So we are bringing our radio audience and although we're going to cut them off at the halfway point of this show, they get to listen for the whole hour when we make this shift. So
you're welcome.
We get to bother a radio audience 5 days a week.
Yes.
So gotta be fun.
They're ready.
So we're also streaming this live on TikTok today, just for the entertainment value, and we're already getting comments over there that are hilarious. We got Shedeur Sanders taking the Browns to the Super Bowl. So I do not.
In their defense,
I do not have the right. In their defense, for that,
he might just have tickets and is taking the whole team.
He's taking his friends to the Super Bowl. I got you.
Friends to the Super Bowl. Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
I know Noah on TikTok's already mad.
Sorry, but you know. And I love how they'll think that that's a Shedeur Sanders knock. Maybe that's just a Browns knock. People like they are not going to the Super Bowl. Stop taking it so personally.
I mean, all of those things can be true.
So good.
So the first big announcement that we want to hit for this morning is a huge move from ESPN promoting women's sports, and this is a massive step forward for women's sports in general. They are going to dump MLB Sunday nights and replace it with Women's Sports Sunday. And now, is some of that because of how much Major League Baseball's ratings have fallen? The fact that 27 potentially has a lockout year anyway, doesn't really matter. Whatever got them to this point allows them to, get women's sports in the forefront on a major ESPN channel.
Yeah, sir. I'm not sure which angle you wanted to go from first, because it's amazing then also that the WNBA still hasn't gotten their act together when you have such a major shift happening. But for baseball,
so that conversation's definitely coming.
Okay. So
but go ahead and go down that road, because we can jump right into that.
Well, okay. So briefly, the Major League Baseball part, that's just kind of, I don't even watch baseball really, but that's always been an institution for me, with ESPN. But seems like NBC really wants to grab that Sunday night spot as far as, hey, we had football, we've got baseball, so Sunday nights will belong to us. So
maybe,
a casual like me probably won't care either way. I'd probably stick with ESPN. So for the women's side of it, get your act together. Like, whatever y'all have to do to get playing this year, do it. You've already fumbled, in my opinion, the Caitlin Clark momentum coming in by not.
Be sure to direct all your hate mail to Herb.
Yes. I will take all the. If you think the WNBA has done an excellent job in this last year or two with Caitlin Clark, then yes, I will disagree with you, and maybe even
so to be fair, this isn't WNBA. This is just women's sports in general. So this
right,
isn't
but I'm reading an article. Right, but it does say the games will be soccer and basketball. So it says WNBA specifically in the article. So they need to take advantage of this platform, which I fully doubt they ever will. But, it's you have to move forward. So monumental step by ESPN just to direct it.
Yeah.
And both leagues then, since I'll say it, really need to take advantage of this. Your scheduling needs to show this.
Absolutely.
You have to have this showcase. You have to take advantage of this showcase.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, you gotta have a product for them to showcase, right? So the WNBA, it was going to be later in the show, but we might as well just launch it right now. They are still miles away from each other,
Yeah.
and I don't even see a path forward. Like if everything came together tomorrow, they'd have a hard time starting on time because
Right.
they have, obviously they still have to sign all the free agents that are around, right? Because just about every veteran isn't under contract because of the CBA that was coming up. So you have them that have to get under contract. You have a supplemental draft because of the two teams that are coming into the league this year. And then you have the normal draft that is 2 weeks after the championship game for March Madness. So you got to somehow sign everybody, have the supplemental draft, and then the normal draft. And then 2 weeks later, you got to start this season. So I'm not exactly sure how they think they're going to get this done in 7 weeks, even if it all came together today.
Yeah. No, they're definitely up against a time crunch. But you're also in a position where it's not, like in other leagues or like what the NBA did. Okay, we'll just start the season late during this lockout and start it on. Like you can't do that if you're the WNBA. You have to start as close to on time as possible. So,
especially because their season's half as long.
Yep. So they put themselves in a bad spot already, And I honestly, I think part of it was they thought Unrivaled would do a little bit better than it would do. They'd have a little more leverage. They kind of lost that. And it just seems like, I don't know, while everyone was out there playing, they just weren't making any progress. And now everybody's done playing. They're like, all right, now you guys are ready to sit down at the table together. Like, get it together. This is probably your best time to grab some momentum.
The thing there is all the leverage is on the player's side. So, the WNBA, and I've said this before, I think they're just wildly overplaying their hand because they are losing their players to these startup leagues that are paying way more.
Right.
Right. I mean, you're talking about leagues that are playing for a third of the time that are paying double what the current salaries are in the WNBA. So, if you're the player and you're like, okay, sure, we can say we play in the WNBA. That's nice. But then, because anytime you can have that pro designation, that you want that. But at the same time, if you're like, okay, so I can make a couple $100,000 to play for 5 weeks, or I can make $100,000 to play for 4 months. That like the math doesn't math, right? So that's where I look at, all of the leverages to the player side because Project B and Unrivaled are doing well, right? Like people are watching it. Similar to the WNBA, you have to know where to see it, right? Like you have to go seek it out. But at the same time, like the viewer numbers have been good. So then if the WNBA doesn't launch for whatever reason, does that 11-year, $2.2 billion TV contract come into question? Because then if you're the director of those stations, are you looking at it as like, okay, this is a breach of contract. You don't have a product to put on the floor. Let me redirect this to the basketball that is being watched, that is being played, and if that's the case, all of a sudden you see these startup leagues grow a ton. So again, I think the WNBA is leaning way too much on the fact that they are the pro league and not looking at, we might lose all of our stars.
Yes. Which is what was happening back when the WNBA first started. People were still going overseas and still going, like Russia was paying a lot. I remember Sue Bird and Dinah Taurasi getting paid $1 million to go over there, which dwarfed anything they were getting WNBA wise. And then you look so many years later, they're still in that same position and they're not learning anything from it. Make your concessions, get them back. Oh no, wow, Raj. Is it safe to say that Unrivaled is Unrivaled?
I mean, we'll put it up, but man.
That's my brother. But and by the way, Unrivaled, I know the ratings started off not what they wanted, but I think they did gain some momentum. But their
Mhm.
one-on-one tournament was like heavily lauded by a lot of people, especially with like WNBA All-Star game not being necessarily what it wanted. So they did manage to put it there. I think if Caitlin Clark could join Unrivaled, then it would be pretty much over for the WNBA. I think they'd figure something else out. But
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's a little bit frustrating watching the WNBA doing what they're doing, because they were getting to the point where it was growing even without Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Paige on the floor because they were all hurt, and the viewer
mhm,
numbers continued to rise. And so, yeah, they might have been the catalyst to get it going, but then the momentum was continuing to rise even without them really being around. And
right.
so for them to get into this contract dispute, it's unfortunate because you're watching a league that finally made some money. In fact, they made enough money that they triggered the revenue sharing for the first time,
Right.
which that's huge. That's a huge step forward. If this doesn't kick off on time, or for whatever reason this season doesn't happen, any momentum they've had over the last 3 years gone.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. One thing that helped with all that is, yeah, Caitlin Clark might have got you in the door. But the WNBA, one thing I will say with them is you can almost look at each team
Mhm.
and there's at least one good personality on there. And that person's doing all the interviews and all the highlight reels and everything. And you're like, okay, yeah, I don't know the rest of the team, but I know Asia Wilson. You know what I mean? So things
Yeah.
like that will keep you there. So,
I mean, that's actually still even kind of true when you get into the press conferences. You usually get the same, like, 3 or 4 people,
right.
right? You got more than that on the roster, but you end up with like 3 or 4 people that are routinely in the presser, and then they'll randomly throw a wild card in there like once every couple of weeks. They're like, oh
Right.
yeah, well, yeah, get in there, you know.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but yeah, for the most part,
But
it's generally
mention Asia though in
100%.
your interview.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So it's yeah, man, and of course, selfishly, I want them to get it figured out too, because I cover them. So
Right.
I want to get back in the stadium. So,
For sure. For
so
sure. It's been way more fun the last couple of years. Like I know we say
yeah,
Caitlin Clark, but you mentioned with Paige and the different draft classes and um, Angel Reese has brought a great spark to it as well. Like the last two draft classes have been some of the best, not just play style wise, but personality wise, And then you have what the Valkyries come in and actually make some noise as an expansion team. Like this is the time. And then throughout all that, and the Aces still win 3 out of 4. I mean, there are stories there right now. So
for
this is
sure.
the time. Can we not drop the ball? And they're like, yeah, we
Yeah,
might drop the
I
ball.
mean, that's the problem. Is it sure looks like they're going to? I don't want to see it happen. Like, I want to see this actually like launch and become something cool. But yeah, I don't know. They seem like they're going out of their way to make this more difficult. And now they're, even though they're closer than they've been, they seem unwilling to bridge like little gaps that
Yes.
seem pointless, right?
Yeah.
Like they want revenue sharing, right? That's a percentage. So it's not like they're asking for a dollar figure that you're like, hey, we're trying to bankrupt this thing. Like they're looking
Right.
for a percentage here. And then, you know, what was part of the existing CBA is to provide housing for some of the players, which makes a ton of sense because they're not paying them any money, right? I mean, your rookie deals are 70K. If you're making 70K, you're living with some roommates here in Seattle. So,
Right.
that's not a livable, as much as it sounds like it should be fine. If you're trying to live anywhere near town, it's just not going to work. And then, of course, there's no free parking downtown anyway. So, if you were trying to come into the stadium and stuff, it'd be its own issue. But yeah, so they're squabbling over that a little bit. And obviously, I think there should be a trade-off. If you're a rookie or whatever, they should probably provide housing. If you're, under the last offer, if you're making close to that, like I think it was like $500,000, something like that. Then, you can probably provide your own housing at that point,
Right.
So I'm
Right.
sure there's going to be a threshold or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. Some of the things that they're not seeing eye to eye on just doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
I agree.
It's almost like they don't want to get it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and you hate to say that some of this, it feels like almost personal, but some of them, it seems like they'd rather win. Their idea of winning is like at the negotiating table versus like a win for everybody. They're like, no, I want to say I was the winner in these negotiations versus
And that
let's
may
just
be
find a deal for everybody and move forward. So, and that's outside. Look, not at the table, not in the particulars, but if there was ever a time to get something done, this is the time to get it done. Period. So whatever concessions you have to make, especially if they're minor, let's go for it. And like you said, asking for a percentage versus a dollar amount makes a ton of sense. You make less, they make less. You make more, they make more. That's how it works.
That's right. It's Schwab.
Yes.
We
Don't
do
be
better
the other
when
guy.
we do better. Hey, their ad campaign is working. Free plug for Schwab.
There you go. Got to get him on the show too.
Man. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they get it turned around. They are sure running out of time though. Yeah, it's too bad. So in the land of football, Seattle obviously wins the Super Bowl, and now they are up for sale. Now, this is not a big shock. At least if you have been here in the Pacific Northwest, you knew this was part of Paul Allen's will when he passed away. They're already in the they're already in the process of selling the Trailblazers, right? So I mean, they're dumping all of the sports teams that they that they have the holdings of. So if Seattle does sell, this is the valuations as of 2025. Now, these are going to be different by a little bit. Certainly, Seattle's will get a bump because of a Super Bowl win.
Right.
I was surprised to see a couple of these that are at the bottom. I didn't realize the Bengals were so rough. For those of you watching on TikTok, if you want to see the graphic that we have up, my YouTube channel is at football-talk, and you can take a look there. It's also going to be easier for me to see your comments. But so the Bengals only being listed at, $5.25 billion. Now only, but
I was like,
okay,
so Bo has a yacht, folks. Like I'm driving.
just buying that couch cushions, no big deal. But when you're looking at teams like the Rams and the Cowboys, Cowboys at $13 billion, all of a sudden 5 is that's like discount pricing. Like here we go.
Right.
Now Seattle rolls in at 14th at 6.7. I would imagine that they sell somewhere between 7 and 8 billion. Would be my guess after coming off a Super Bowl win. Bo buys the Seahawks. Spoiler alert, man. Ryan, I wish.
If you turned out to be even part of the group, I'd be like, wow, this man's been holding back.
Right. I'm going to tell you, I would have a much cooler studio if I was in the $1 billion figures.
Yes, you'd be doing the show from a helicopter.
I mean,
can't hear you, but just because.
Right. I would definitely have a full-on TV studio. There's no doubt.
Yes. I remember us having a discussion with somebody about saying who America's team was and, what team was most valuable and selling the most merch. And to that person's surprise, we said the Cowboys. And they were like, what? And we were like, they're still the Cowboys. You either love them or you love to hate them, but they're still making the most headlines. They're still in the most merch. And look at them, still the most valuable. Like that comes as a surprise to no one. You'll find more, like you said, more surprise at the bottom than you will at the top. So,
no question.
No.
Yeah. It's, no, the ones at the top make all the sense in the world. The ones at the bottom, like a couple of them make sense and a couple of them kind of don't. We got people spreading lies over here. So my YouTube channel is at symbol football-talk. Yeah, so like some of these ones at the bottom, you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like I would have thought the Cardinals, the Panthers, um, Jags, like those all kind of make sense to me. I would have
Right.
thought the Colts would have been higher. Um, Certainly the Steelers, I would have thought they would have been higher. Like some of the flagship ones that
Right.
the Bills, for example. Um, Again, all of those I thought would have been higher. Broncos kind of feel about right, middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Seahawks again feels right, middle of the pack. But
Yeah. Buffalo, I couldn't figure out if that was like, do they feel like more of a local team, or are they used to be a juggernaut, right? Waning years, kind of back in that popular spot right now, but no success. Is that what it's taking? Like, does one
no,
Super Bowl bump you
I think
10
it has
spots
more to
up,
do. I think it has more to do with your market size. Like
Did
this is
somebody
almost
come
a
over just to boo you?
what's that?
Did
Yeah,
somebody come over just to boo you?
exactly, Ryan. When you're looking at it, like this isn't based on success. This is based on market size. Because
Right.
if you're saying success, the Jets and the Raiders have no business being in the top 10. Um, so what you're looking at is essentially population numbers. You know, you're looking at Dallas, huge population, LA, huge population, New York, huge population. Um, San Fran again, especially the neighboring cities around it. So I mean, yeah, exactly. The list does make sense. And then when you're looking at the ones that are closer to the bottom, you're talking about, you know, Cincy and New Orleans. And, these aren't huge populations, huge markets.
Right.
Um, Jacksonville, right? Like you're not
Yeah.
talking about an incredible amount of,
People.
space.
Yeah.
So I think that has more of the direct reflection than the success of the teams because again the Jets haven't won at all since Namath. So I mean it's been a minute.
Yeah. Could you imagine like going in to buy the Jets and you're like, bro, I need a discount. Like if I'm taking
Right?
like what are you they're not on the clearance rack? Like what's going on here?
Exactly. You're like here's some soggy chips and a pack of Big Red. I think we can get it done. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
The Chiefs one
yeah,
is funny because that was the argument that we had when somebody said who surpassed the Cowboys. They threw out the Chiefs, and we were like, no, nowhere close. And so we were dead on that part.
and Jay, Green Bay is sitting at just over 6.5 billion. So they're in that 15th slot as of 2025. As of 2025, but the list is the list is interesting, but it definitely isn't based on success.
Yeah.
But
And then, like you said, it's all about what somebody's willing to pay anyway, and if somebody's actually selling. So it's always interesting.
true. Well, and I mean, in this case, because it's not necessarily a forced sale, but it was written into it anyway. Um,
Right.
is I'm so curious to see who steps up as potential buyers. They've been talking about Steve Ballmer, which would make some sense. I'd be curious if the Hanson Group tries it again, the one that was trying to get the Sonics to come back years ago. Although I think he's probably out of the Seattle market just because our city council was so terrible to him. But then people are talking about Elon. I'm like, man, that better not happen. Or
No.
all of a
No.
sudden they're playing in space or something. And then
Yeah.
or
Yes.
Bezos, they've talked about Bezos potentially doing it. I don't love that aspect either. So we'll probably have to see what that looks like. But Balmer wouldn't be terrible, especially
Right.
because he talked about the idea of potentially having Sherm and Beast Mode involved as minority stake owners. Obviously that would just be PR stuff, but
Right. For sure. But good PR stuff.
oh, 100%, right? Like that'd be great PR stuff. And, they're already in the Seattle market all the time. Sherman co-owns Legion Sports Bar with Cam Chancellor in Bellevue. Marshawn Lynch is partial owner of our rugby team, the Seattle Seawolves, and as well as the Kraken. So, I mean, these guys are involved in the community all the time still anyway, are in Seattle a lot. So those types of things would make a lot of sense. It would also get some of the focus away from Ballmer being Ballmer.
For sure. For sure. How much money do I have to put in to be part of one of these groups?
I think you're still in the 10, 20 plus million. Like you're talking about teams in the $1 billion figures. Even a Crumb is in the
I'm a little short of that.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd say a little less, but that's fine.
Yeah,
I guess I won't be part of one of these groups.
If the buy-in is 10 million, I'm about 11 million away.
Yes. That's pretty accurate.
And Jay, the owner of the Ducks. Yeah. So there are interesting avenues. We haven't heard anybody as a front runner yet. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how this comes together and how quickly it comes together. I mean, at the end of the day, $7-8 billion is a chunk of money.
Yes. This is interesting how it will come together. And then right after a Super Bowl win. So that's
Exactly.
that's always funny too as well.
Well,
this is our last one under the current ownership. Let's do the best we can for you
but if you're the buyer, at least in this case, it's not going to be like the Broncos where they came into a bad situation, right? When they sold, they didn't have anything worked out, and then everybody they hired were terrible, and they, jettisoned all of it basically. In this case, you'd be buying a championship team that is retaining its head coach and its GM for the foreseeable future. So, you get a step into a stable franchise instead of where the Broncos was when the Waltons, bought that one.
Right. Yep. No, you're right. Loads ahead of it. So, and like I said, drives the price up a little bit more because you're thinking, okay, we have a chance at some great success the very next year without just don't mess anything up when you come in. And you'll be good. Leave your shoes at the front door.
Even if you are going to mess it up, you're probably not going to mess it up the first year because you're just assessed. Unless you walk in and like everybody's fired, like your first year, you're probably going to do okay because you're like, okay, we got to kind of figure out what it is we're doing. Everybody looks like they know what they're doing, so let's let them do their job. I mean, you almost have built-in success the first year. Then it's if you mess it up from there.
A job I was at, we had one of the worst managers ever, and he finally got fired, and they brought in the next guy, and the first thing he did was just let us work. He said, when y'all need an override or something, come to me. Otherwise, I'm just stay out of y'all's way. And we went from being the worst store in the district to the best just because the person in charge said, you guys look like you know what you're doing, so I'm just going to let you do that. Just come to me when you absolutely need.
I mean, that's how it's supposed to work. Owners are supposed to come in, and if things are working, you let them work. And when they don't, that's when you step in as the owner and be like, okay, we got to make some changes because we're falling off. You should be doing stuff like that. It shouldn't be the Jerry Jones to Dallas thing where the show has to be on me. And, whether we're winning or not, as long as I'm in front of the camera, it's good. Like, it's not a successful way to run a franchise. They've won a lot of games, but not a lot of championships in the last 30 years. So as long as owners kind of stay away from that aspect, and, when you look at the Patriots, right? Kraft, he does go that other route where he's like, okay, when things aren't going right, I'm going to fire some people and rework this thing. But when it's going right,
stay away.
You do you.
Yeah. The success comes back to you. So there's no need to put yourself in front. Like, you're making what you want to make when the things go well. So, like, who cares if your name is stamped on front or not? So,
well, I mean, that's the problem with Jerry Jones, right? Is he needs to be that front running, in front of camera guy. That being said, for the last time, we do have to say goodbye to our radio audience. If you are listening on 97.3 ICU Radio, we will get you back to some smooth jazz headed your way. Otherwise, stick around for the second half of the show here on YouTube or incidentally on TikTok today at Football-Talk. All right. So more football news. Kyle Pitts gets the franchise tag for Atlanta, and he actually had a better season than I thought he did. Atlanta wildly underperformed. So, not to take anything away from Kyle Pitts, right? Like the guy is awesome, but somehow even on that team, he was a second team All Pro this year with just under 1,000 yards receiving as a tight end. I was actually a little surprised to see that. Yeah. Just because of
the only reason why it wasn't is because of some fantasy implications at times, and London was hurt, a bunch, and he stepped up in those games, and he was a good little safety valve. So I ended up, plus where I'm at, I end up seeing a little bit more of the Falcons than any human reasonably should. So I watched a little bit more of them. I always wanted to tell you he's a couple drops away from breaking 1,000 easily. I remember a couple games of watching that. But
well, I mean, it's funny, though. He only had 88 catches, so it's not like he had. It wasn't like tons of targets.
I would almost say if you look at the second half of his season, I believe that was the better. Like I said, once London was banged up a little bit more and they started feeding him a little bit more, he had some nice little breakout games in the second half of the season. But he's also a guy taken with the 4th pick, and then all of a sudden in a contract year and franchise that year, it's like, this will be my best season, just to show you just enough of that promise where maybe I can get paid. And then we'll just see how the next couple of years go again. But was extremely talented, coming out of Florida, right? So,
no question.
Kind of expected from him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just so used to seeing him on like the draft bust board.
Right. Oh, rightly so. Rightly so.
Not for the NFL, but for your fantasy, right?
Yes.
The fantasy draft bust board is where he lives a lot. And so I was surprised to see that he had, almost 1,000 yards. He did only have 5 touchdowns. So, I mean, but at the same time, Atlanta didn't score a lot.
Right.
So, I didn't look at what the percentage was, but it was probably still a high percentage of the touchdowns that they actually got.
Yeah. And I'm looking. Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like, I don't know, the games were really, really up and down, 59, 37, 39 yards. The only one touchdown came in his first, 8 games?
Yeah.
First 9 games, 1 touchdown. So, I'm sorry, never mind. There was 3 against Tampa Bay. So there goes 3 of 5. He just, he's all right, as long as I'm piling up here, but only 1 game above 100 yards. So it was still not even what I remember. I guess it's the last 4 or 5 games it seemed like it was decent, but something we've said, Atlanta has invested a lot on the offensive side of the ball, draft capital wise, for their offense to be as inconsistent as it is, and then Pitt's inconsistency probably plays into that too as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think quarterback play comes into it more than anything.
For sure.
And they definitely have a lot of questions coming into this next year. It reported that they're moving on from Cousins. They're going to cut him, which, I mean, makes sense. I think he only has like 10 million guaranteed left on his contract anyway. So although it'd be a little bit of a cap hit, it's not going to hurt him that much.
Right.
But then at the same time, are you drafting somebody? Because you still need a backup that's capable, right? So was this at the request of Cousins to get out of there? Or I'm curious how that's coming together, because, I mean, they're going to have to figure something out for a backup. Yeah. 10 million guaranteed for a backup is kind of going rate at this point for a good one. So,
and are you trying to get into that range and just, you're saying we want to get a backup, we don't want you to be better than Penix, or are we trying to spend a little bit more and maybe push him? And when is he ready again to come back? Like, is he at the start of the year too?
Yeah, so I think he is available for the start of the year. I'd have to double check, but I think he is available. But yeah, I mean, so if you're moving on from Cousins as your backup, who are you going to find for the same price that's better?
Right.
I
No,
don't.
it's a
I
yeah.
don't see one.
Yeah. But you use a
And
first round pick on Penix, so you can't, like you say, you can't really draft another guy this soon. You're not, or not early. So, and then do you want a rookie backing up a guy who, well, let's just be honest, I love Penix, but injury prone, all through
yeah,
college and then already in the pros. So, like, what are you, and like, and then it kind of goes back to you've put all this into your offense
yep,
and now you have no engine. So cars just sitting on the side of the road, just like, hey,
exactly.
what are we doing? So
No, I mean
I
that,
don't
and
know.
that's the Vikings too, right? Like the Vikings are the same way.
Oh yes,
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I fully expect Cousins and Carr to go, interview with the Vikings. Um, that's a team that the roster is good enough to go win some games.
for sure.
Obviously Darnold had a great year there. I think Atlanta's very similar in that way. Like if you get competent quarterback play, I don't know. Like there's no reason not to win that division.
Yes, and
Like
that's
that
where my
division,
arguments always start.
yeah, like that division is not the hardest division to win.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
this last year nobody wanted to win it.
Right. Like literally, Panthers like we could win this game or we could lose it and just watch the Falcons and the Saints to decide the
Yes.
division.
I
That's the
mean,
drama we want.
when you not only win the division with losing record, which I can't hate on it, my Seahawks have done it once before. Incidentally, the Panthers have done it twice now, so that's kind of crazy. But you end up with three teams tied for the same losing record at the
Yeah.
top. Like that's not great.
No. I feel like in that case, if the three teams are tied at the top, we should take the fourth team as the champion. So the
That would be
losingest record.
hilarious. I mean, the thing that's funny is the losing record was still only like a game back, right? Like
Right.
They were all equally bad.
Yes. And the Saints swept the Panthers, who actually ended up going as a champion. So hey, look,
Yes.
my strategy is not totally, off base here. So that's what it should have
Yeah.
been.
No, it's man. That whole division is a mess.
Yes.
And it
Yes,
doesn't
yes.
really look like it's going to get a whole lot better. If you're a Saints fan, you got to feel a little bit encouraged that Shook looked as good as he did
Right.
towards the end, right? Because it's not like you were giving him a lot to work with. So for him to play as well as he did at the end of the season, you got to feel kind of encouraged about that. The Saints also are finally done with their cap nightmare, right? So they can finally start bringing talent back to this team and drafting people.
Right.
And so if you're a Saints fan, you're not going to be good this year, right? But you're at least moving the right direction finally, instead of being just hammered by that cap for the last really 5 years.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, because I didn't even know who they were trotting out half the time, except for the quarterback. So no, they think they found their guy. Yeah. So good piece moving forward. And like you said, this division is not running away from you. So you have another year to kind of build and to catch up with everything. If anything, Tampa Bay is just going to get worse. So they're definitely coming back, and you really have no idea. You're basically trying to catch Carolina and just watch the Falcons to see if they figure out anything. So you're actually not in a bad spot. And like you said, a year or two from now, winning the division, and that's the start. So there is hope, Saints fans. There is hope.
Yeah.
Might be false hope, but it's hope.
I mean, it's not false hope because nobody's good in that division. Like,
what's up, Alex, man? Good to see you.
So let's see here. We got Dallas Morning News. Calvin Watkins reports Cowboys look to make Brandon Aubrey the highest paid kicker, offering him $7.5 million per year. Aubrey wants more. He wants to be in the $10 million a year range as a kicker, which would basically reset anything that's happened when it comes to kicking. That being said, I mean, dude can hit from 70. So, I mean, it's hard to not want to pay a guy that's as accurate as he is that can kick from the wrong side of the field.
I mean, I feel like if they had playoff success, then you'd want that kicker, right? But does the team drive his own value down? And I'm looking at the kicker. I didn't realize. I mean, Harrison Butker is the highest paid right now at 6.4. They're like,
Yeah.
we're going to make you the highest. He's like, I want to be the highest. Like, what?
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
we bidding against ourselves? That's the other
I
thing.
want to
I
break
don't
the
see it.
market.
Yeah. For kickers, though, no
Yeah.
less. I mean, let's say he didn't get it. Who are you holding out? Like, is somebody trying to pay the kicker $7 million? What team is a kicker away from winning the whole thing? Like, I don't know. I get why he's doing it. If I was him and we were never going to do anything, and I'm looking over at us being, valued at 13 billion, I'm like, yeah, give me 10 million. Like, that should be fine. But for the Cowboys, it doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. Which means they'll probably sign with a 15 just to make
Yeah, right. I mean, the thing is someone probably would give it to him. That's the thing, is if the Cowboys don't, someone might, just to take him away from the Cowboys. Like, not necessarily because they want to pay him that, but just because they want the Cowboys to suffer.
I just can't figure out who that would be that doesn't feel like they could get, a competent kicker to get them there. And then we're not about to start a run. If he gets 10, like, there's not a guy coming up that's going to want 11, right? I mean, the Jacksonville kicker is the one who's kicking, crazy, and then they're still not having great success. So I don't know. I just don't see a team that's like, the whole team is perfect, but our kicker's awful. Let's go get a $10 million kicker. So
no, like I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, all things being equal, though, there are some of those games that the kicker is who won the games for him.
Oh,
because,
for sure.
The Cowboys couldn't finish. But yeah, so 10 million a year for a kicker, that's more than most running backs.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? If I'm paying my kicker 10 and my running back like 8, if I'm the running back, I'm like, let's switch plays for, just a couple
right?
I'll kick an extra point, but you run in this touchdown.
Exactly. Yeah, you're talking about significantly different length of careers when you're talking about
a kickers kicking at 40, running backs retiring at 30. So yeah.
So there are generally incentives there when there's usually like a percentage, like a successful percentage that gets you to hit some of those numbers. These aren't all guaranteed contracts. That's just not how the NFL works. Like, generally speaking, there's a lot of incentives in NFL contracts as a whole. That's why it's always such a big deal when somebody does get a fully guaranteed contract, because it's not that common. Generally there are a lot of incentive-based elements to these contracts. So even if the contract does come out as, say they gave them 10, there's no way that the 10 is guaranteed. It'll be, 6 or 7 that's fully guaranteed. And then there's going to be a ton of incentives. And then there's going to be some playoff incentives, which is funny because you won't hit those. And then
no, it is
Dallas hate right there.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that until we really started doing shows like this and more in NFL. Because you to a casual watcher and fan, oh, he signed a $20 million contract. That's great. And like in year 2, they're cutting him. He's like, he got 7. I was like, what just happened? Like, where's the other 13? Yeah, that was made up money. So sorry.
Oh,
yeah. That's why when Deshaun Watson signed his, every owner revolted and said, we're never doing that again.
Oh, yeah.
Don't make us come to your house. So,
well, and probably the best example of one that was like the most incentive-based contract I think I've ever seen was Taysom Hill's, because they gave him this, like, it was like $100 million contract, and like 20 of it was guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because so much of it was based on, okay, well, hypothetically, if you play quarterback, right? But he was primarily a tight end, gadgety guy, and he didn't hit any of those things,
right? Because
he never got the reps, but it was all incentive based. So it's like, oh, I mean, hypothetically, you could make this money. It's like, yeah, you're not making that money, dude.
I know. Not to switch, but I was reading this about NBA contracts. Whenever you have incentives in there, even that you're not going to hit, like for trade purposes and salary purposes, those incentives count against you, like when you're making the trades, even if the
Oh, yeah.
incentive is like something impossible to hit. So
Well,
I
it's
was like,
because
that's
it's
interesting.
potential salary cap
Right.
issues, right?
Yeah.
So you have to take it into account. Now in basketball, it matters a little bit less because they have a fungible cap. They're just like, oh, we'll just pay luxury tax.
Yeah, but that luxury tax, though, you know what, the first and second apron and all that kind of crap, they're like, if you go above it, I don't know. I don't even know all the rules anymore because they have made up so many. If you go against this and you're hard capped at this and you can only try, I'm like, oh my God, they're trying to kill. I mean, you have to have a mathematician sitting next to your
Oh, yeah.
GM telling you what's going on. But anyway, back to the original. I don't think Aubrey's getting 10 million, but what do I know?
Yeah, he probably does end up somewhere in the like 8 is my guess.
Which
right?
is 2 million more than the next guy.
Yeah, I mean, they were already offering him 7.5.
Right.
Right. So it makes me think they'll probably creep up another half, and then they're gonna be like, we could just get another guy.
Yes. We can not make the Super Bowl with or without you. So we're good.
And Cowboys fans just logged out. Like, we hate this show.
Yes. Just direct your hate Herb Rags, though, man. Herb Rod's podcast.
Right.
Just, you come after me. Bo is an innocent bystander. It wasn't his fault.
I wish that were true. I bag on him pretty heavy too. So, but yeah. So I mean, as it sits for the NFL, that's about all of the pending news when it comes to that. But since we dipped into the NBA, we do got to talk about the fact that their All-Star game also isn't great. It was better, right? Like, it was better than that 400-point zero defense, just horrible game
Exhibition,
that was
kind
a
of,
year
yes.
ago. But this one, it was the 3 teams in a round robin kind of thing. The world versus 2 U.S. teams, so that seemed a little bit stacked for some reason. And then
right. And then the 2 U.S. teams ended in the finals, and there were people like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah, right. Shocker! It's crazy.
There's a shocker. Yeah.
And what Kyrie went off in that second game, and then couldn't buy a shot, or Kawhi, couldn't buy a shot in the third, which was funny. I mean, there's a lot of the All-Star games we wish would go back to the way they were when they were good. I mean, certainly would say that about the NFL's Pro Bowl. Like, that was awful. I mean, it's become something that's unwatchable.
Yeah. The only problem with that, Rod, is you just can't get them to care when it was the East versus West. That was the biggest problem. Even then, like we mentioned it, a lot of these guys started off not caring, and then it had to be Wemby who kind of said, "I care." And everybody else was like, I'm not getting embarrassed by this dude. So
exactly.
He cares. I care. Plus, I think keeping the team smaller and not, there was the top end all-stars, right? But then there are guys like Scotty Barnes, who most people don't know, who are like, well, I can maybe make a little name for myself. I'm going to play hard out here. And, the De'Aaron Foxes of the world. And then, like I said, like Kawhi coming back and realizing, look, it's going to be intense, like 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to give it my all, because then I'm good. But it actually just felt like it meant something with the lesser time. I think when those guys are playing these longer games, and playing all the quarters or whatever, half of them were like, I'll wait to the 4th. If we're close, I'll play a little. If not, who cares? Versus now they're like, hey, you got 12 minutes and you guys could lose and go home. Okay, I can give you 12 minutes. Which if I sub out, I can give you 7 minutes of, it's like why baseball still does well, because I'm not asking this guy, hey, I need 6 innings in an exhibition game. We're like, hey, I need 1 or 2 innings from you. Give me your best for 1 or 2 innings. Like, okay, I could do that, And that's why
baseball's a little different too, because you can't not play defense.
Right.
Because everything would be an in the park home run if you don't. Right. So you're forced to play defense. Hockey did something smart with the World Challenge, right? So I mean, the 4 nations, I guess. So, I mean, those tweaks have worked. But when you're talking about, NBA's All-Star game, like, it was a little bit better. It still wasn't great. right? Like you still only end up with like 4 players that were actually really trying. And then the NFL, I think they've just given up. Like, I don't even think they're trying anymore.
No. I think the money is too good for the NFL for them to ever go back to a spot where somebody's like just trying to kill somebody out on the field, you know?
Well, that's the thing, is you just don't make enough for the game, right?
Right.
If you so when you think back when they were still playing in Hawaii and it was after the Super Bowl, you got 50 grand for winning, 25 for losing, but your player contracts were only like a couple $100,000 a year, right? Like they were,
Right.
Your top elite guys might have got like $500,000 for the season. Well, all of a sudden, 50 grand matters.
Yes. And a trip to
Now,
Hawaii.
when you're looking at 90,000 to win, and these guys are making 10 to $40 million a year.
Right.
Like that, it doesn't make sense. Like
I
get why, you may not want to do it when it was still in Hawaii. And it was truly all of your all-stars because everybody in the Super Bowl also got to play. And you got a cool location. It was truly all of the best players. And now it's like, yeah, okay, we have guys opting out and none of the Super Bowl guys can be there. So you're getting the Tyler Huntleys and Shedeur Sanders and, the losing records and stats that aren't good that are getting into the Pro Bowl. Mm-hmm. And if you're telling me, hey, it's not going to be the best of the best, we're hiding the game on a Tuesday, you're actually going to lose money to be there. We're going to send you to Santa Clara. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm straight. Like,
yes. Like Trevor Lawrence looked at that and said, I'm good. Like, don't even worry. I don't even have anything to do. I'm just not doing that. So
100%.
Yeah. And nobody blamed him. There wasn't even a major story. They're like, okay, Trevor Lawrence skipped this Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Can't blame him.
He's like, no, thanks. I would rather sit back and watch a DVD of MacGyver.
Yes. Said I am good to go. So, I don't blame him. It's as much laughter as we give the NBA in season tournament.
Yeah.
It's more competitive because that money that they give, like 100 grand or whatever, the 7th, 8th, 9th guy on that team, that's significant for those guys. It might not matter to your best star on the team, but there's several guys with that significant money. Plus, you're playing with your actual team. So, yeah, even if your star is like, I'm not pushing it, there's several guys on there like, look, I don't get that much playing time during regular games. So, you're getting my all for the 7 or 8 minutes I'm out here. So, yeah. All-Star game was a little better, but it's just never going to go back to those days where guys like really, really cared. The money is
for sure.
In a lot
and of course, sports. We're also talking about, things that were fun about the All-Star game that were incredibly lacking too, is the dunk contest was probably the worst thing that I've seen.
Oh my
gosh. The opening dunk was just like a run up normal dunk. Like we're not even trying to make it cool anymore.
Yeah.
Like you don't have people jumping over cars or people, or it's just like, oh, let me just kind of run up and dunk this ball. It's like, oh man, that's rough.
Yeah. Yep. You're also I know Matt McClung won the last couple of years, and that wasn't a name, but you're also not even getting any names in it. So like casual people are, not really wanting to tune in because like I don't even know who these people are. Then when you tune in, you're getting disappointed. So it's just, and then by the way, having it in the middle of the afternoon on Saturday didn't work either. I totally missed the 3-point contest because it's just so much wrong with All-Star Weekend. Are some of these things worth fixing? I guess is the real question.
You want it fixed, right? Like you don't want the All-Star games to go away. But if they're going to stay the way they are, they have to.
Yeah.
But just realized I forgot to do something here.
Oh.
Hey, it's early on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's almost 9 here, so it's like, I don't know, 2:45 a.m. for you or something. I don't know time.
It's not quite that bad, but before we get out of here, we do have another piece of news that LaMelo Ball gets in a car wreck, not even kind of close to his side of the road, and I think it was the dismissive attitude that you got to be a little bit, I don't know. I wouldn't want to see this on screen. But here,
how were you kind of made aware that the other person in the accident was also okay? I know she did suffer some injuries.
Oh no, I seen her get straight out the car.
Can you put into words the last 24 hours with you, how it's been emotional for you to have to deal with that and then come here and play a game tonight on top of that?
I'm just alive, blessed for real. So God is great, like I said.
LaMelo, you did.
So then he just gets up and leaves during the middle of the press conference, which, I'm sure
kind of like he did for the car crash.
Yeah, kind of, right? Yeah. He leaves and jumps in a car. But I mean, when you're watching this, like, he's not even close to his side of the road.
No.
And of course, if you're watching on TikTok, if you swap over to at football-talk on YouTube, you'll be able to see this clip with us. But I mean, absolutely just plows the front of this car on the wrong side of the road. It's crazy.
Yes.
So,
How about I see her get straight out the car? What?
I mean, she did. She actually did pop right out the car.
No, but I'm saying, like, that's your whole answer. Like, she was fine. She got out the car.
Yeah,
like,
it's cool. She could still walk. It's all
yeah.
good. So
I was like that attitude, and then he's shocked that people are asking about it. I mean, come on, man. You're a high profile athlete doing something really stupid.
I mean, you drove over the front of her car. Like that. Yes. That's gonna come up.
Yes. Oh,
I mean, and you hit with enough force to rip the tire off your car. Like, I mean,
yes.
Yeah, she popped out the car. I don't know how somebody getting out of the car makes you think they didn't get hurt by you crushing the front of their car.
Right. Yeah, a lot of adrenaline probably popped her up, and then in a minute, I guarantee you, in a week, there's going to be a lot more injuries, buddy. So you'll find out the hard way.
No question.
But that
being said, that does get us to the top of the show. If you've been watching along, be sure to like and subscribe. Appreciate all of that. And of course, if you're watching on my channel, stay tuned. We got Coast to Coast coming up next. This is the last Wednesday wrap up for this particular layout. It will move to later in the day. And in this time slot, Coast to Coast will be coming. And next Wednesday, we have a professional MMA fighter from the UFC, Jonathan Haynes. He's going to be joining us right here on what will be Coast to Coast. All right. Other than that, we're going to get out of here. We'll see y'all next. Coming up next.